Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you at the Emirates, where the game has finished, the game has ended, and Arsenal's title challenge has ended. Painful 3-0 defeat here at the hands of a very good Brighton team who absolutely deserved their win in the end. Tight game. It was pretty scrappy, very scrappy in fact, especially in the first half. But once Brighton got themselves in front early in the second half, that Arsenal never looked like coming back. Just didn't really seem to have the fight and the spirit that we've seen from them this season. In this one, I think probably City's win at Everton earlier in the day had quite a big part in it. Sort of mentally, I think you kind of got the sense around here from the fans as well, from the stadium. It just didn't quite have the energy that it usually had. Like it kind of been sucked out of everyone. I think at the start of the day, everyone connected with Arsenal, players, fans, probably were looking at that match at Goodison Park and thinking City might find it difficult there. Everton might be able to get something. And the way City won so comfortably in the end, 3-0, I think everyone at full time was just like, well, that's that then. And you kind of got the sense, I thought, of that game having a knock-on effect on this one here. And Arsenal were well beaten in the end. It just didn't quite happen. The first half was very tight. Arsenal easily could have been in front at half-time. There had some good chances in the first half. Trossard hit the bar. Jesus had one saved. Saka put one just wide. It was 0-0, but they could have been in front. But like I said, in the second half, from the moment Brighton scored the first goal, which was a really odd goal, Arsenal just never looked like coming back. And then towards the end, Mikel made a lot of changes. They didn't help. I think they disrupted things. Arsenal basically had no midfield. I never understand why he takes Odegaard off, and he's done it a few times. And you just think, if you need a goal, he looked like the person who was going to make something happen. If anyone was going to make something happen for Arsenal, it was going to be him. And to take him off, I just didn't really understand the fact that Xhaka had already gone off. Partey had come on for Jorginho. Just the whole midfield was kind of disrupted, and it had that sort of. You could see that Brighton were going to score on the break, and they did. They got a couple on the break, and Ramsdale didn't cover himself in glory for the third goal when he sort of pushed the ball out for their player to knock it in, and for the second one, Trossard sort of got caught trying to flick the ball around the corner. The ball deflected into the path of Endeavour, who scored, and it's a sad way really for this season to end. It's been such a good season, and obviously it's not ended yet. Still 2 games to go, but it's a kind of sad way for the exclamation mark to be put on Manchester City's title win and Arsenal not getting a job done. It was just a shame. But I mean, the fans were left the stadium, which you can understand, but there was a lot of fans still left inside the stadium at full time, and they all cheered the players. So that, you can tell they certainly appreciated what's gone on this season, and it has been a good season, and it's going to be disappointing the way it's finished. But I think Brighton are an excellent side. They played so well today. It was a game that Brighton controlled for large periods. They just looked really well coached, and which they are, and I thought they absolutely deserved their win. And they're going to beat a lot of teams. There have been a lot of teams this season. I think they'll beat a lot of teams next season if they can keep hold of De Zerbi, because he looks like a fantastic coach. And this Brighton team know exactly how to play for him. And they deserve their win in the end. So Arsenal are going to be disappointed. How they raise themselves after this. They've got 2 games to go. Nottingham Forest next weekend. If they don't win at Nottingham Forest, then the title is City's. If they do win at Nottingham Forest, then City can win the title by the following day in their game against Chelsea. So you expect it's definitely going to be over next weekend, sort of confirmed mathematically. And it'll just be interesting to see how Arsenal finish the season now. Can they raise themselves after this defeat and go again and try and get 6 points and get themselves up to 87 points for the season, which will still be a massive total for them, their biggest since the Invincibles. It'll kind of show again the progress that has been made, and it's going to take a bit to get over this. I'm looking out there now, and the substitutes warming down. The players are all on the sort of sunk to the ground at full time. You can see how disappointed they were, and especially I think it's just to go out the manner they did, to lose 3-0. It's just a disappointment, isn't it? When no one wanted that. I don't really know what else to say. I'm disappointed. I'm feeling it. Now I'm going to go down and see what Mikel Arteta has to say in his post-match press conference. Gabriel Martinelli went off in the first half. The referee was awful, which didn't help. Didn't help the game. It was really scrappy because the players basically knew they could get away with anything because they were just fouling without any punishment. And Caicedo took out Martinelli early in the game because Martinelli had taken out Matoma with an awful challenge that he didn't get booked for somehow. And then it was a classic Caicedo sort of revenge tackle, and it ended up taking Martinelli out. He twisted his ankle, rolled under him. He went off early on. Trossard came on. I've just seen Martinelli out there walking around in a protective boot. Doesn't look great for him, so he's probably out for the remainder of the season, you would expect. and it kind of summed up Arsenal's day. Just nothing really went right for them, and yeah, it's just a disappointing end to what's been a really good, fun season. I think we've all got to remember that. Not that everyone will, but I'm sure most of us will. It has been a really good season, lots of progress made, and Champions League football's going to be back in next season. Second it is for Arsenal this year. Okay, player ratings time. As you can understand, player ratings aren't going to be great. There weren't too many good performances out here at all. Ramsdale made a good save in the first half. Second half, a bit weird. A couple of the goals. The second one maybe shouldn't have passed the ball out to Trossard when he did. Trossard was under pressure. The third one I thought he could have parried it out better. He just parried it out it was sideways, but I still felt he could have cleared his line a little bit better than he did. So I gave Ramsdale a 5. Ben White had an absolute horrid time. His toughest game of the season. Ben White really struggled. Matoma just had him on toast for the entire match. Just kept skidding him time and time again, and White just had no answer by the end. He looked in a very sorry state. So that was disappointing, and yeah, really tough day. He hasn't had many of them. He's been so consistent, Ben White, this season, but that was a really tough afternoon for him. So I gave Ben White 3. Kivior, strange for the second goal. Kivior, he definitely got Tanos for the first goal. He definitely got stamped on his ankle. Probably should have been a foul. It wasn't. VAR didn't give it, but even so, the way he sort of stopped playing and went to the floor, it just looked really odd, and it just gave, the ball came back in, and the guy just had a free header from four yards out to head in. It was strange defending, I thought. Even if he was a bit hurt, surely you just stay on your feet at that point until the danger's gone. It was odd, I thought. So I gave Kivior a 5. I gave Gabriel a 5. He was in a real physical battle with Ferguson. Tierney I gave 5 as well. He didn't get forward very much. Tierney couldn't really. So I gave him a 5. Midfield, Xhaka and Jorginho played. They didn't do much wrong, but they couldn't get any control. It was a really congested game, congested midfield. They weren't overpowered in midfield by any means. Arsenal's problems really came when Jorginho and Xhaka went off, because they were just really open after that. So I gave the 2 of them 6. Odegaard I thought was Arsenal's brightest player. I was surprised he was taken off. I thought if anything was going to happen, he was going to do it. He was driving them forward, but he went off. So I gave Odegaard a 6. Saka and Jesus up front I gave a 4. Saka had one good chance in the first half, which he dragged after that. He just made no real impact at all. Jesus didn't really get a sniff, aside from one shot from a tight angle that was saved in the first half. Gave those 2 a 4. Trossard came on for Martinelli early on. It was bright. Had a good chance in the first half, which I think he should have done better with. He hit the bar, and I thought he probably should have kept it down better. It was a good shooting opportunity. Obviously a bad error by him for the second goal as well, when he was pressed very well by Brighton, who pressed brilliantly all game. So I gave Trossard a 5. Other subs came on. Reece Nelson was bright, actually, as he's been for a long time. He came on late on. He had one shot that went just wide and looked lively, and I thought he played pretty well. Decent cameo for him. He's ending the season well, so I gave him a 5. The others I didn't really mark. Smith Rowe came on. There was no impact at all. He couldn't. The game had gone by then. And Thomas Partey came on, but couldn't get any control of the midfield. He was totally on his own in midfield. It's just exposed and couldn't get any control. And so I'm not really going to grade him as well. All right, that's it. I'm sorry it's been a pretty downbeat, miserable video, but that's kind of the mood of the place at the moment. As you can probably see, there's a few fans left in here. They're watching Vieira and sort of down there talking with Sky Sports, and everyone's kind of sulking out at the Emirates, really. That's just the mood of the day. It's a disappointing one. Been a great season, really fun season. Best season I can remember in a long time following Arsenal, but unfortunately it's come to a sad end here. It's finished Arsenal 0, Brighton 3. The title is heading to Manchester City.